episode 6 of Nothing Else Matters with the beautiful Maryanne, who is here with me today.
Thank you, Kate.
So, and we're going to remember that there's someone here behind this camera, listening to us. We know you can't talk right now, but we're just going to talk and remember that you're there because space and time is an illusion.
Correct. Totally irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, Kryon always says, whether you're listening to this now or later, it's all the same.
It makes no difference because everything is here and now.
It's hard to get your head around, even though you can talk around it and talk about it all the time. In the back of your mind, your ego never wants to believe it. And it still reverts back to, oh, back then or in the future or now, instead of going, no, it's now. It's now. And so you still fall into that pattern all the time of going, oh, yeah, but what I'm going to do, no, it's now.
Because everything in like the society that's been set up for us is all about time and being on schedule and being at this place at this time. You know, it's funny, like Sian sent me this, I don't know, little video on Instagram about this guy going to the person who invented time, who before time I could just rock up depending roughly on where the sun was and when I woke up and, you know, when this happened. But now, since you invented time, I have to be here at this time on the dot. Thank you. And I think he might have said a bit of a choice word. But I thought that's hilarious.
That's a thing that he called it his cosmic watch. And it's a leather band. It's beautifully made. It's got a round coil in it. It goes round and round and round. He said, this is my cosmic watch. He said, a wizard is always on time. Well, that's true. We are always on time because we're always meant to be where we're meant to be at that time. And I think the best reminder of that for me, to stop me getting exasperated if I think I'm running late for something, is a woman, I don't know where I read it, it may have been on Facebook many years ago, about she was racing to get somewhere and she was really annoyed she was late and something happened at home and she had to turn around and clean it up and it made her late and get in the car, and so she left home 15 minutes later. And then she came across a crash that happened 15 minutes prior.
Or on her
journey,
path,
on her path.
Where she would have been.
That's right.
Wow.
And she was, wow, she said, so from now on, she said, don't curse because you're late, because there's always a reason.
Yeah.
And I had an amazing, it's just like this, about experiencing being on a different timeline. When we were travelling to Alice Springs, remember we told you about this one?
Oh, tell me, remind me.
We were travelling to Alice Springs from Uganda, and we had a flamingo wind up on the back of the Commodore wagon, you know. I think the only Commodore wagon towing something.
Wow.
Everyone had these palatial Pajeros or whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, we were going, you know, at least 110 kilometres an hour towing this thing. And we're rocking into Alice. We went round this roundabout twice because we couldn't find the right caravan park. And as we pulled in to the caravan park, the back left-hand tire blew out as we was coming to a stop.
Wow.
And I'm going, thank you. That's not the weird part.
Yeah.
The weirdest part was then, when we went into the office, this lady, it was a husband and wife team. She was the only one who did the bookings, the only one who touched the books. I went in to say, you know, we're here to check in. She goes, oh, she said, I've crossed your name out. Oh. She said, I don't remember doing that. I remember writing you in, but I don't remember crossing it out.
Oh, interesting.
So it really did mean, in the other dimension, we didn't make it. Because a blowout at 110 kilometres, pulling something would have been a catastrophe.
You would have been totally...
Well, on another dimension.
I know, but you timeline hopped then.
We timeline hopped. Not only that then, when we were leaving Alice Springs, we enjoyed it so much. That must have been just a magical weekend, because I said, oh, I wish we could have another 2.5 days. Careful what you wish for. Half an hour down the road, Russell's going, oh, and the car's slowing down. The alternator went.
Oh, wow. So you had a couple of days to sort that out?
Yeah, well, you know, we still had the argy-bargy with the REA who wanted us to go to here and blah, 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 and going, you gotta be kidding me. And we had 2.5 days at the really lovely hotel in Alice Springs.
Oh, nice. So that worked out perfectly then.
It was really weird.
See, all you have to do is wish.
Yeah, but remember, when you wish for things, don't think that they're going to come in. Kryon said this as well.
Yeah.
Don't think they're going to come in a pre-packed box with a pretty ribbon on top and all the way you think it should be. Because sometimes to get to the gems, you have to dig.
Yeah.
So, like, I had a
You have to
migraine
get
the
dirty.
first day in Alice Springs in bed because of all the stress. But we still got to enjoy it. Russell had his smorgasbord breakfast, so he really enjoyed that for twice. But we got, you know, and we had an extra walk around and stuff.
You got what you wanted, but you didn't expect it to be through a breakdown, because you never would have gone, let's break down so we can stay here for a little bit longer.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know. So when you wish for things, I suppose, and that brings me back to, do you remember the film, what was the one with Hugh Grant and the safety, Brendan Fraser and the safety pin woman who went out with Hugh Grant, the English actress, and she went out with Hugh Grant. Come on, girls, you know it. And she had safety pins all down the side, and from then on she was a hit.
I have no idea. I thought Hugh Grant was happily married to the same...
Oh, no, this was years and years and years ago.
That.
So anyway, it's about it had Brendan Fraser in it. It was about this woman was the devil. And...
not Liz...
Yes,
Liz...
not Liz Hurley. That's not her name.
Liz Hurley? She's English?
Yes. Yeah.
I think it could be Liz
Is it
Hurley.
Liz
Is it Liz Hurley?
Okay,
Somebody tell us. Is it Liz Hurley?
Brendan Fraser had 10 wishes, and he was in love with this woman.
I think it was Liz Hurley.
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah.
And I've forgotten the film, but I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and I've told Russell about this.
Yeah.
And he loved this woman, and he said he wanted to be sensitive, he wanted to be this. And 9 times, he only had 10 wishes. He said, I want to be famous and rich, and that. And he ended up being a drug lord in Colombia and getting shot at and stuff. And he ended up being too sensitive in another thing.
But he was so soppy.
Yeah, and all soppy, that's right. So you have to be specific.
Very specific, because the devil is in the detail, apparently.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the devil is actually your ego wanting you to stop moving forward. It's not so much... Because everyone possesses evil inside them.
Yeah, we have
and it's just
light
the
and
thoughts.
dark. Yeah.
We all have light and dark, because without the dark you can't have light. It's not a possibility. So we have to have an essence of dark so the light can shine. You know, unless you're a master, and then it's like, oh.
Is it though? Is it? But every say ascended master had to really go through many lifetimes, though, not just one.
No, that's
many lifetimes of mastering themselves and their energy.
Like Jesus in the desert, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And Buddha and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's interesting. So, but coming back to the timeline thing, being in the now, it's so hard. I have one which is a really good excuse not to exercise.
Yeah, what's that?
I should be doing my weights because, you know, I want to look good in the future. But I think, well, there is only now, and at the moment I don't feel like it.
There's only here and now.
And at the moment I'd rather go in the garden and pull a weed or something.
Well, you know what I was listening to is about, though, there is that just doing it in your mind. If you do something in your mind, they've done this with experiments with sports people where they've had like... you know, some people just imagining doing a workout every day. They just imagine they're doing their weights and stuff. And it's actually, their body responds as if they were actually doing it.
Yeah.
So you could just imagine the weights.
I think I did, but it doesn't work with the arms. Sort of like it's still... I wonder if that's where the thing that's the thought that counts comes from.
It could be, because there's all these sayings.
Yes.
And I've had this thing like... quite a number of years ago, I went, there's something more to these sayings. Like, yeah, it's the thought that counts, because it is, because everything is thought first. The devil is in the detail. What other ones are there?
I've never heard the devil is in the detail.
Really?
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Oh my goodness.
You are what you eat?
You are what you eat. Well, you are, because chemically you become what you eat.
That's
so
right.
That's true.
Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. That's a really important one. Love yourself. I don't know what the rest of it is. Love thy neighbour like yourself. But I like one. I don't know if there's a saying for it, but you know, you cannot love another fully until you love yourself fully, because you can't give yourself to another person saying that you love them if you can't experience love for yourself, because then you're only giving a fraction of what you think love is. Yeah,
so you have to know love as yourself first before you can share that love with another and be loved.
That's right.
And loving.
So, because otherwise what are you doing? You're only giving a perception to another person. Yeah. And you see, but when we're brought up, aren't we told that if you think you love yourself, you're full of it. You're full of it. Yeah, you're big-headed.
It's so negative, isn't it?
I know. And yet, if they were taught that in a healthy way, if you were to teach children in a very healthy way to love themselves but not think you're better than another self, that is the healthy way to do it. But there's so much negativity in teaching. Not so much even teaching, it's in old-fashioned parenting, but they didn't know either. No. Because if you look at our parents' generation, well, my parents were on in the 30s, brought up by nuns and priests and very staunch, you know, and it's virtually, well, you know, look at the thing where the men weren't allowed to go in and see their wives give birth in case they saw a vagina. It was like, crazy. Even though they put their... penis.
Know, if they're having a baby, they know what a vagina looks like.
Well, maybe. No, because you see, in the church, they teach...
It's all in the dark.
Yes.
Under the covers.
You weren't allowed to fornicate or have intimate relations for the joy of it. For God's sake, it was only to procreate another Catholic or... whatever.
Wow. But that sexual energy, the sacred energy exchange is so powerful. It creates life. It creates, it literally creates life. Like, we can create through that energy. It's just, it's been warped in society. Like, if you look at porn and, I'm not looking at porn. I know what it is, but if
I don't look at porn now. I'll be honest, I have looked at porn myself. And,
yes, I've seen it, but I find it it takes away the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and it turns it into an act. And often the woman is subservient and...
Oh, no, I look at female porn. Or did. Yeah, so it wasn't. And I found... I think, I don't know when it was, 10 years ago, I don't even know her name, this woman who particularly did gay love affairs, and it was very sensual. How the women, not a man directing woman to woman. It was female. But, it's just part of all that exploration thing till you get to menopause, and I don't know what happens. And I think menopause happens where, well, for me, there's just no energy at all, is because I don't think at 60 you're supposed to procreate.
No.
I mean, there are women that can do it, which is amazing. I wouldn't do it and couldn't do it because I like my sleep and I don't like being interrupted. But I'm wondering if that's, I wouldn't mind other people's opinions on that. Do you think menopause happens to people, to women, to say, well, your time to bring children into this world has finished? Yeah. But for everyone it's different, because I know some women's energy after menopause excels, but maybe I just got a great servicing in between. So
maybe.
I think that's it,
And if we come to a point...
I've used all my orgasms up.
Can you do that? I thought, well, we have a certain number of eggs, but can you use up your orgasms?
No, I had an acupuncturist who said that once.
Really?
He said, you can run out. Oh, but I don't know if that's true or not. But it's sort of like this, the sexual energy. The only time I get a feeling down here is if I see an injury or a cut now. It's so weird. It's so weird. And it's the only time I get it goes zzz.
Wow. Yeah.
Now that's a compassionate feeling.
Yeah.
But there's no sexual buzz. Or and even like I saw there's this fella on YouTube at the moment that does these flexible. No, it's on Facebook. He does these flexible exercises.
Yeah.
And he's a cross between Brad Pitt and Heath Ledger. And I can watch that, but there's no sexual thing. It's just admiring the beauty of this body. And the strength and the physique. So it's like like looking at a beautiful art piece. But there's no, I wish I could have that, because it, I'd be like, oh, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't touch me, no, don't do it that way. No, I can't do that because my back's too sore.
Yeah. But I find, like, as I get older, it's less like the physical lust, and that it's more, I really want that beautiful, wonderful soul connection that potentially could ignite some physical sort of passion. But without that soul connection, I'm just not interested. I just need to have that love and intimacy.
Can I just say one thing, because this is a really good platform.
Yeah.
I would love for people to say, as I get older, to cease, because it's actually as we get wiser. Because we actually don't know how young or old we are as far as our souls are.
Exactly.
The children at school used to say, how old are you, Miss Maryanne? And I'd say, last count, 8,376 light years and 42 seconds. And they go, what?
What?
Because they're used to saying something. And, and the beauty about where I work at the moment, I have a lot of women say, oh, I'm too fat for this, I'm too old for this. I said, define age. What is age? I said, this, your sack, you've been in this skin, this body bag for so many years. I said, but your soul, how do we know how?
We could be
and there's no such thing as age.
Millions of years.
But there's no such thing. There's no such thing as age. Actually, this is another programming that we've been led to believe, and I hear it so often that people say, "Oh, you're nearly this, so this has got to happen. You'd expect that at this age." Oh, yes. This is why your feet are sore. This is why you've got arthritis, because you're that age. Forget all that bullshit, because there is no such thing as age. We're an evolving soul inside a sack. This is a sack, a human sack, that this soul is borrowing, and so far it has borrowed it for 59 and a little bit years.
It's like a vehicle, isn't it? Like
That's all it is.
Car, while we're here, a vehicle that our soul hops in to be in this lifetime and moves around where we need to go.
Yes, and so it's like those people that look after their cars better than they look after the bodies, when it should be the bodies first.
Yeah.
Do you know? But it's just the warpedness of everything that we've been brought up to believe that shiny possessions are the most important things in our lives, not the shiny body.
The self, the soul, because it is like we're here to have an experience. Is from what I'm understanding, is like we've come here to experience, and to experience the polarity. The light, the dark, the up, the down, the the happy, the sad. Because we need to experience everything to actually really fully
integrate.
Yeah.
Well, it's an evolving. That's the funny thing. The only thing that is real is our evolving.
Yes. And that's our growth and our expansion as an energetic being, not like this human in a body being, but this. It's not like us. This is something I heard someone say a while ago, and I can't remember who it was, but it's not that your soul is in your body, it's just your body, your soul is everywhere, but it's all part of it, but it's not like our soul is in our body.
No.
So there's no need to get out of our body.
No, yes, and it's funny, I use that as almost something similar to that. When I get customers and ladies who are of the wisdom age,
The wisdom age.
The wisdom age.
I love the wisdom age.
Wisdom age happens at 50. When you turn 50, you go, I just don't give it anymore. And
for conformity.
Conformity. Yeah, conforming. But I've never been someone to conform. Ever.
I can't even imagine you conforming.
Except when I was a very shy girl. I was one of those screamy 4-year-old, 3-year-olds. If Mum let go of my hands, I would scream.
Oh, wow.
I was very, very, what's the word? I was very shy and very, I don't know, fearful. I grew up fearful. Anyway, going back to that, I had a customer saying, oh, I like that, but I'm just too fat anymore. And I said, stop. I said, define fat. What is that? I said, do you realise? And she said, oh, but I'm too old. I said, no. And so I explained the soul thing to her.
Yeah.
I said, do you realise that sometimes your soul is just exploding so much so your body has to get a little bit bigger to hold it?
Yes. Yeah.
And she said, to hold of the light? I said, we're in an evolution of mankind at the moment, so just go with the flow. And she goes, oh, I like that.
And just ease up on yourself. Don't be so hard. Like we are so, like we can be so critical. Harsh on ourselves, so judgmental, so critical. And I think we both want to say to you now, be kind to you. Be kind to you and be kind to others, because we're all trying to do our best. I
failed yesterday. I looked in the mirror and I thought, oh gosh, I look haggard. And I was looking in the rear vision mirror to just look at the length of my hair. And I noticed for the first time I had folds of skin on my back. And I've always had a beautiful back. And I'm going, oh, back fat. Wow. And it's like, here comes the ego. Oh, your back's got back fat now. And it's like, yeah. So it's like, I criticise my face constantly when I look in. I think, oh, I don't like that Craig and I don't like that. Why have I got the crepey neck happening and this happening? And it's like, so that's the human conditioning. And we always fall into the human conditioning. And that is needed too, to make us aware of where we're at as far as, well, it's not even where we're at. There's no stages of being enlightened. There's no stages of involvement. It's just a train track and a journey. And what happens here, bomb drops off there, what happens there, we can observe, but we don't take it on.
And also, like, in what woundings do we have that we need to notice are there so we can heal them and remove them so they're not part of us anymore? Because we have this, I've noticed, like this sort of, it's like there can be a suffering and then a wounding, but when you identify the wound, it's almost like it goes away straight away just by identifying and even like accepting, I have a wound. You know, you might kind of dwell on it a bit. You don't want to dwell too much because then you make it bigger. It's like if you've got a scab, if you keep scratching at it, it's never going to go away.
I love scratching scabs.
But when you kind of see it, then you go, all right, I'll just make sure I take care of that. And it heals and goes away. Like I've really noticed that process in myself where I notice something and sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't know that was there. And then accepting that as part of me, and then it's like disintegrates and then it's no longer there. But I had to see it first and accept it.
I learnt that through a really great therapist called Kryon. He's in South Australia. We went through, he helped me in a lot of stuff, a lot of trauma, a lot of layers and stuff. And one of them was in your dream state. I don't know how many of you have had dreams where you are been chased by someone all the time, and every time you get a spot, you get a spot, and then just before they come, you get up because you think they're going to find you. I was always chased by a dark shadow or a dark man. And it was only 4 years ago. Because we can control our dreams. And I was only telling someone at the physiotherapist yesterday the same thing about what our dream state. We'll talk about that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't have an agenda.
No, I never have an agenda.
Not with me. Everybody just went, no, Maryanne's coming. Out the window.
That is the beautiful thing about this. It's like, you know, I've had a few people say, oh, it's an interview. No, it's not an interview. It's just an organic talk. And whatever comes up depends on whatever happens. So,
So during the process of different healings with Ryan, he taught me about, I would tell him about a dream and we'd go back and visit the dream. And one of them was, I had a dream of drowning all the time. So I had to go back and he would say, go through the dream. So we'd go back to the dream and he said, right, imagine yourself there. And he said, right, what can you do? I can't get past, and he'd guide me through. So it taught me to do this in my dreams. And I had one of these dreams where one of these men or dark shadows were chasing me, and evil as fuck. You know, some of them are just like, whoa, they really scare you in your dream. You think this is an evil entity. I remember stopping in that dream, and I did say that word, didn't I? F word.
We can swear.
Okay, well, it's an adjective. To me, it's an adjective. It's not, I don't use it. It's only was made rude because the religious people said it was a profanity, you know.
It's a descriptive
and it's not. It's a descriptive,
word.
so I will use it as a descriptive word. Anyway, in this dream, and I thought, I've had enough of this. And I turned around and I said, bring it on, you fucker. I said, bring it on. Bring it on. Give me what you got.
I could feel the power.
And because I just thought, this has got to stop. And I have to have control of this. So what I'm saying to you, you can do this. You just try it, because don't let your dreams or the things in your dreams have control of you, because they haven't got control over you. Turn around, and Frazer says, do your darndest, because I'm a lot fucking stronger than you, because I am full of light. And then I chase them, and I have not had one since. Not one.
Exactly, because it is your dream, and this life, this is our dream, that we have the power.
This is a dream.
Don't have the power when we give it away to someone else or another power or system. But until you give it away, it's all yours.
And you find that if you do that in your dream state, which is actually just another parallel system while this sack is resting, it transforms into this life.
Yeah, it does.
And things change.
I had something, this is about a month ago maybe now, and I realised I was up, but I was out here, but I was not in my body, I was still sleeping.
Oh, I love that sort of shit.
I know, but then I realised there was this dark entity in the house, and but everything it was like, you know, in the scariest horror movie, that feeling, and I'm like, oh no, and everything was slow. I was like, I could hardly move, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm like, I want to get back to my body, and everything was like slow motion and
like we were trying to run
heavy, and almost like underwater.
And
kind of like everything was dragging me.
I bet this.
And then I'm like, and I had that fright for a moment, and then I did turn, and I could see my door handle, but I'm trying to get there, and then I went, hang on. And I turned around and I said, you have no power here, be gone. And you know, and then it disappeared, and I went back into my body, and then I woke up going, oh. And even then, it took me a while to open my eyes. I still felt really heavy, but then I opened my eyes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was bizarre.
And you can do it. It is that easy. It honestly is that easy. We're not just saying that because we've done it over and over again. You don't have to practice this stuff. It's a matter of making up your mind and saying, am I going to be in control of the dreams? And
having conscious intention and knowing that you are in control unless you give the power away.
Now,
isn't that amazing?
It is. I've noticed that one stopped.
Which one?
The one in the middle with the light. Little phone.
Oh no, it's still going, because that is
the delay. That's all.
Oh, it is. Oh, hang on. Let me just press stop, and then I'll start it again. You're right. Wow, and that is just where. Can you see that? I must have been talking about the entity that was here, and I'm like, That was very interesting, that experience I had, but very empowering, because I've had times before where in dreams, and I've just kept running, I've been afraid. I'm still talking to everybody.
That's all right.
I'm just explaining. Look where it stopped. It's me talking about that experience. How interesting.
It is, isn't it? It's almost like they don't want people told that you can control
this is still going. Yes. And like, and this is, so I'm going to, this is not working at this point,
so
but I'll put it there.
Sometimes can say, hey, we don't want people to know this. But so we're telling you this. So this is a pure example of saying how you can control those energies.
Yes, but they are pretty good at getting into electronics.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Well, like lights and, you know, into your phone or into electronic devices. Yeah. So, and I've listened to, like, I'd never listened to tarot before. I didn't even know tarot was on the internet.
What's tarot?
Tarot, like tarot reading. You know, the cards.
Yes.
And then last year, it just started coming up on my phone notifications. But then I've listened, and then I found there was a few of them that were almost like speaking my life. So almost word for word. And then others that, and then because I was intrigued, then I'm going, holy they're actually telling me what's happening in my life as it's happening. But then I've noticed with them that they often say they get glitches. When they're saying something important, their text glitches out, and they know that that's something important they're trying to say, that some other entity or
is trying
energy, because we're all just energy.
Yeah.
Light and dark is trying to stop. So interesting that would happen just on that story.
I know.
I love this one.
I have a girlfriend that I ring. She's a psychic medium, and I kid you not, when we get into some heavy conversation, our phone just gets cut out time and time again. I remember having a conversation with her, and we got cut off 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't want humans to know that, hey, we have got more control. We're not actually, we're in the human form, but they don't. When we say they, how would we explain they to people who are wondering, who are they talking about?
I think we're talking about the energies,
a collective energy
that are leaning towards the dark side of the force.
Yeah, they don't want the souls to evolve on Earth, because at the beginning of Earth's time, whether you want to believe this or not, and I've only heard this, that when it was first created, it was meant to be the beautiful Earth, the beautiful paradise of Eden. Hence some of the absolutely glorious places we have. And of course, there were other, we'll say entities, souls, that I don't know where they came in, or they just evolved or decided that they wanted to control a certain thing. So this is where the birth of, shall we say evil, but evil's not really that, of a darker thought process.
Yeah, a darker dominance.
A darker dominance
energy
was born. So, God, I lose track when I get that deep. So that when we're talking about they, we're talking about the darker energy, and it's nothing to be fearful of, because our light energy is actually 1,000 times greater than this dark energy. And this is, as soon as you feel and believe this, you will be in control, and you do not have to fear those nightmares. You can. I'd love some of the audience to have a go next time they think they're having a fearful dream.
Yeah.
To have a go at this and then report back. Did it work for you? Did it work? Because that would be really interesting.
It would
because the more people that did it and the more people it worked for would give more people
the confidence.
And then so many more of us would break free of this whatever.
And it's not like we're caught up by it. It's only that we've given our power away.
Because that's what we've been taught.
Yeah. And we are creators, like as these light beings, we create and manifest very easily, but we also create, what seems to happen is that we see what's out there. Say you're watching the news or stuff, you go, the world's in war and poverty and famine and child abuse and this and domestic violence, and you bring it in, and then you reproject it out, and you keep reinforcing that particular timeline.
Yes.
But what you need to do is break the cycle and go, you know what, I'm going to go within.
And not spread it. Yes.
Yes. And I'm going to start thinking, okay, I mean, you can springboard from that stuff and go, well, what do I want to see in the world? And then you imagine it, and then you start projecting it out. And the more you start seeing evidence of that projection, the easier it is then to change that narrative. And you'll never watch news again. You'll never watch bad movies like dark, negative movies, or read scary stuff or whatever. Newspapers.
The world's going to shit or something. You know, I said, oh, look what's happening here. I said, I don't want to know. It's not ignorance is bliss. But my world doesn't look like that.
No, exactly.
My world doesn't look like that. Now, but I have heard contradictory things from, like Lorie said, well, you can't just wish it away and say, well, that's not going to be that. I'm just going to om this away. So this is where I do get confused. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not omming it away. I just choose to know that the world that my soul is seeing and is going to be living in is the one that I want to live in and choose. And you better prep, like prepping.
Like, and climate change.
Oh,
like, oh my goodness.
I say it's climate cycle.
Yeah.
Yes, we're contributing to the pollution and we're destroying Gaia yes. But I only saw that the other day. If you put an ice cube into a glass of water, right, it changes the level. But when it melts, it doesn't.
We're not going to flood out.
It's not going to flood out. And
it's the same mass, just in a different form.
So people are saying, oh, Mauritius is only 2 metres above sea level. What's going to happen to Mauritius? Oh, everything's going to flood. And so what you were saying is when you hear this stuff, we just stop and go, if I spread that, I'm perpetrating it.
Then you're part of that, because whatever we focus on,
we give
our energy, and it grows. So you need to then, the thing I like to do, if ever, this is when I used to occasionally catch stuff like the news or whatever, I don't at all anymore, mostly, is to pivot, to look at it and go, you know, and it obviously feels bad. I was at my parents' for a little bit, and they had the news on often, and it really made me cry. I couldn't watch it. I would actually go have dinner in my room.
I stopped watching it when they put the football on 10 minutes after.
Yeah.
It's like, where's all the good news?
They don't really have good news.
No.
Because it's set up to keep people in fear, because when we're in fear, our vibration is low, and when our vibration is lower, we don't have that power. That when we raise up into ourselves. But I would pivot, like whenever I would see something I didn't like, I go, well, what would I choose? How would I choose it to be? Like, I would choose to have no war and just lovely peace. I wouldn't even focus on the war. It would be a peaceful world where everybody is, you know, in peace, love and light and harmony and joy and happiness. Everybody's got food. Everybody's got a home. And then at a certain point too, if stuff came up, this is like only the last few years, I started saying, not in my world. If something came up, I'd go, not in my world, that doesn't exist. And I mean it. And I think our intention and believing something, because you can't lie to yourself. You can't go, oh, there's no war, because there is. But you can just keep choosing better, you know, and choose what you give your energy to, because that'll grow. Exactly.
What I'd like to add on to that, so some of the audience would be sitting there and saying, yes, but look at you two, you're in a lovely place, you're not in a wheelchair, you haven't got one eye, you're not blind, you're not deaf, you're a pretty good-looking girl.
Some of you.
But what I'm saying is, the audience say, okay, well, you can sit there and say, well, we just don't have to look at it. Yes, I'm blessed. I have no hardship in my life at present. I have had shit. I've had lots of stuff. I've had sexual abuse. I've had narcissistic partners. I've had physical abuse. I had physical abuse from a family member only 3 years ago. I've had my brother's suicide, my niece suicide. I won't say what else I've had in the family, but we've had drugs, we've had this. So I've had my little hurdles that I've had to go by. I've been blessed not to be blind, not to be in a wheelchair. So for that now, for most of my life, I just took it for granted. But now, every day, I say I am grateful.
So thankful.
I am grateful I can see. I am grateful I can get up. I am grateful I'm not in a wheelchair. I know tomorrow that if I had to said I was going to be a paraplegic, I would be a whinging, depressing piece of shit. Because I'd go, far out. Damn it. What am I going to do now? I'm going to have to do that. So for some, life is just one fucking hurdle after the next. And I don't have a solution for that. All I'm saying, or all that we are saying, is that catch your negative thoughts, and if your life is shit at the moment, which for a lot of people, you've got a lot of stresses. What would you say, to help with that is where, let's say, that's easy for you guys to say.
Well,
where
at any moment we can change our trajectory. The thing is, sometimes it takes a while. You've got to start really making the right choices, and you might not notice straight away until you get along the way, and then you start seeing evidence, and then you turn around and look back and go, oh my goodness, I've come so far. And this is something I heard a while ago, that and I can't remember where from, I hear a lot of stuff and I soak it in, but I forget the source. So if I take one step a day for a year on the path of my right choices, of my highest good, on the things that make me healthy and happy, so in a year I would have come 365 steps. So if you actually, one day I want to actually go to an oval or something and see how far that 365 steps is. Because when you look back, you'll see how far you've come.
That's true.
Whereas you could still be in the same spot, in the same life, doing the same things and feeling stuck. But you just have to make the effort, just one little step each day. Because I think sometimes when we try and think of how much we've got to do to change our lives, can be a
never
mountain.
Never look at the big picture. I never, what would you say, tapped in to understanding a spiritual side of myself till my former relationship broke down and I had other shit going on, and that was at the age of, what age was that? 13. That was only, I don't know when that was.
Time's an illusion.
Exactly. It was only, till after my 50s did I actually even get into the tiniest bit of spiritual side of myself. So before that, I avoided people that hugged for too long or that sort of shit. It's
you would have hated me.
No. I've still got friends. I still can't do it. I think it's a claustrophobic thing, from being held tight or being restrained.
Yeah.
So that's just it. And some of these things too that you feel come from past lives, if you believe in past lives. And one thing I wanted to, I think it's eluded me now. Now, I was brought up Catholic, but for years I called myself a roaming Catholic.
Did you say roaming?
Roaming.
Not Roman Catholic, no. Roaming.
I believe in Jesus as an ascended master. I believe in God as a source of the universe, an energy source that all of us are joined to.
Yeah.
So when I talk of Jesus and God, Jesus is like an ascended master, like Buddha, like all these people who have mastered their soul energy inside a form. So I remember when I was 23, my first marriage, 22, 23.
Wow.
It was abusive. It was not nice. I cut my wrist the wrong way, but it was only because I just did not know how to escape. And I remember walking out in the street one night at 10 o'clock, it was in Edwardstown. And I just went into a church and I sat there only because church was the only place at that stage I thought God existed before I realised that
God is everywhere.
God is here. Yeah, God is everywhere. And I remember going in there and saying, I give up. I cannot handle this. Could you please do something for me? I can't do anything. I don't know what to do. I just want out. Please help me. I was out within 3 months.
Wow.
I found my escape. I got out. It wasn't easy. It still wasn't easy, but I got out.
Yeah.
And then I recently heard again from Kryon. If you haven't heard Kryon, it's just Lee Carroll. He's a really good fella.
Amazing.
To listen to. And you come across things when your soul needs it. It's like, I don't listen to these people every single day. For some stage I did, like Lorie every day, didn't miss a beat. And then you get the gist of it. Yeah. But when you need to hear something, you will hear it and you'll come across it. It will come across your path and think, why is that there? Just take a joke. Take a chance and listen. But anyway, he said, try. So this is the people I'm talking to whose life's a shit and looking at us and saying, well, it's okay for you to sit there and say, just look at the rosy side. I understand and I can empathise with you. I have been in some shitholes. You've been in some shit. I've been clinically depressed in a clinic, where I could not even look at anyone else in the face. Just couldn't do it. So, but I still have my limbs. Anyway, I only heard last year from Kryon. He said, try saying, I surrender with love to the path that God has chosen for me. Now, you don't have to be a religious person to say God. You could say the powers that be. Say the highest. What would you say? The highest. You're good with words. I'm not good.
The path of my. I normally say the path of my greatest good and highest self.
There you go. So,
and I jump a bit from, because I'm not religious. I wasn't brought up religious, and it's like God, universe, source, whatever, energy, and then a higher came into my life. Bob. Bob, a higher. So a higher is actually a higher Asher. A higher means I am that I am. So it's like the great I am that we are all. I am, you are, like we are all that. Microphone is, the cup is, the rock, the tree. We are all the one, and the one is all. I listened to Bashar recently.
There's another good one, Bashar, Bashar.
Yeah, and so there's only 5 laws. So the first one is that you exist. You can't not exist because you exist. And the second one was the one is all is one. So everything is the one. So
he's not the only one who says this too,
no,
by the way.
a lot too, because it's what it is. So what we call, who we call God, is also us, because the one is all and the all is one.
It's just like a nickname. So that's what you can treat it. You just don't be fearful of saying the word God. No. The other thing is you could say my past, present and future ancestors and my guides. Help me to... I surrender to the path of my highest good. My highest life. Yeah. I surrender control. Please guide me in every now moment.
With ease and grace.
With ease and grace. So I flow with ease and grace. You make up your own words. You don't have to use any of ours. But if you surrender to the highest existence of who you are and the path that for me, I say, I surrender to the path that God has chosen for me, meaning the higher existence. And rather than saying the highest existence in the universe of all creation and blah, blah, you just say God.
Your highest timeline.
My highest timeline. And since I have done that, I have found that little hiccups, little hurdles, and also illnesses like the migraines, my rashes and stuff, become more and more minimal.
Because they're not on your highest timeline. Because on your highest timeline, your path, the greatest good, it's mostly ease and grace. I mean, we still have stuff that causes us to grow and expand, and normally that stuff might be a bit harsh. I better quickly just say those other laws because...
Oh, yes, I beg your pardon.
So
yes.
the third one was... hang on, what did I say?
You said we exist.
We exist. The first law is that we exist. You can't not exist.
Yeah.
Second one is the all is one, the one is all. The third one is everything is now. So again, there's no time. Everything is here and now. Mm-hmm. And the fourth one was you get what you give. This is the law of attraction everybody talks about. So whatever you give out comes back on that vibrational level. So you can only get who you are vibrationally.
And that's every word you say.
Everything.
And that's not repeating the shit that's going on in the world as well.
Yeah.
That's just going, oh yeah, that's happening.
And it's not like you can then just say stuff like, I am rich and I have a golden car. Because if you don't have it, you're not going to be vibrationally feeling it. You need to have it's like the words we have and the thoughts are the rocket. I think I've heard this. It might be Abraham Hicks also.
Another good one, yeah.
So the thoughts you have when you're manifesting and creating is like the rocket, but the rocket's not going to go anywhere without the fuel, and the fuel is the emotion. So you have to marry your mind and your heart, because your mind creates the what I want, the thoughts, the wants, the desires. It's the heart, which is the emotion, which fills the rocket full of fuel. So you need to marry the two together in order to shoot off that rocket of desire into the universe, into the ether, for then it all to line up and come back to you physically.
Yeah.
And then the fifth law is everything changes but those first four. I just love it.
That's true.
But it's so simple. It's so simple.
And from what you said is that shit happens as well. Yeah. I'd say that was number 6. Shit happens. But depending on what sort of shit. Okay, let's exclude cancer. Let's exclude the death of a child, a stillborn. They are very, very traumatic things to deal with as a human. The only thing I think we can take from it is that this is teaching us how to grieve, how to lose, how to maybe be really in touch with ourselves, teaching us to grieve. I mean, that's hard. I mean, I know that my father, he died in 2005, and it was only a week and a half ago that something was happening. I had pain somewhere on my whole body. I had pain everywhere in my body, my joints, and I realised on the second day, I thought, this isn't something that's wrong with my body. This is an energy wanting to come out of my body.
Yeah, yes.
And that's often what it is. And I found that with migraines, with shit that happens in your body, it's something that wants to move through. And the more you tap into it, the more you accept it like that, the more you will get the confirmation saying, yes, something's trying to come out. So I put myself in a bath with the intentions in the bath saying this bath with magnesium salts or Epsom salt is going to draw out what needs to come out in trauma or toxins from my body. And then I had a really good cry over my dad's death. Now that was in 2005.
Yeah.
So everything happens differently for everybody else, and a lot of people would say, why is this happening to me? That is still a pertinent question to ask, but instead of asking it with anger, we ask it with the inquisitiveness of a child, of something we learn. So why it's not actually happening to you, it's happening in the world
for
that you are, and
it's
for you, which is a really harsh thing to sort of swallow. It's easy for us to say this, but I can personally say that I've been through some shitty things. I've had 3 car accidents and other gear, but when I look back on it, other people look at it as like, far out, that's a lot of shit you've been through. When I look back on it now, I go, I can't I honestly can't feel the pain or the anger to any of it. I realise it was to make me who I am. And my last relationship before the one I have now burnt me to the ground. If I had not have had, and I was having difficulty with family members, and I felt suicidal. And many a times I'd go out and I'd get in the car and I could easily go into this stubby pole. But my intuition kept stopping and said, no, it's not your time. It's not your time, it's not your time, you've just got to get through this. But had I not been burnt to a cinder, meaning, I even shaved my head, remember? You know, and that was after my brother suicided as well. Even that helped me. But had I not been burnt to the ground from the previous relationship, I wouldn't have been able to be brand new and have the really loving person I deserve now in my life.
The phoenix rises from the ashes.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes you need to, instead of trying to rebuild what's already there, you have to start from scratch. That's very interesting.
Well, isn't it like coal? Isn't there diamonds in coal?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's the blackest thing that people would walk past. And it's the same as when you're looking for a partner. How many of you have done RAS charts? Right? I remember doing RAS charts.
What's that?
A RAS chart is sort of like you put on a board all your intentions of all the things you want. You know, if you've got a holiday and you've got this buffed man and you've got a car and a job and money and great healthy body and good food and all this sort of stuff you wanted. I'd done one of those, but I'd also written a book of trying to manifest the man I wanted in my life. And I ended up with 64 bloody things.
Wow. And,
and the first one was you had to be fit, you had to be healthy, you had to exercise, and then la. And what I got was what I ended up with someone that was overweight, incredibly hairy. I never wanted a hairy man. I didn't want a man with a beard. Never exercised, hasn't done sport a day in his life. Eats all the wrong things. This is still as healthy as anything. But he's chilled. I'm respected.
Yeah.
I have the freedom to love myself and him. I feel free in this relationship. So hence comes the respect. He has my back. I have his respect. He has mine.
See, what's that? So sometimes you don't get what you want, but you might just get what you need.
Exactly. Yeah. And I used to say, and I said to my partner so many times, I said, you're everything I never wanted, but you're everything I needed.
I need.
So
yes.
Stop thinking about the package and thinking about what you need,
the heart.
what you actually need. Do you need to feel respected? Do you need to be able to speak your mind and not have the other person blow up because you do? And that's what I do have. I can say, I feel this and I feel that, or, we even had a blow up the other day about something. It was very nonchalant about letting the cat out, and I'd spent 15 minutes barricading. I've got this Fort Knox for this fucking cat. And in nonchalant, he said, oh, well, he's out, she's out. And I got really annoyed.
You went, what?
I said, what?
Do you understand?
He said, oh, you've been... And then they come back, as men do, when they know they're wrong, they bring in, oh, well, you've been bossy all morning. You weren't talking about the morning.
We're talking about the cat.
We're talking about now, the cat, right now. We're not talking about yesterday, last week, when I threw something out you didn't want. And I said, no, I wasn't being bossy. I said, I was asking you to do things, but I said, it's not the fact that you've let the cat out. It's the way that you just went, oh, the cat's out, when I've said, don't let the cat out, please. And I've actually spent 15 minutes making a new barricade, and I told you last week and many weeks before, the cat is going to be by the door, the cat is going to try and escape, please be aware.
Yes, yeah.
And
interesting.
And it was really interesting because I know with myself too that, because my partner never swears at me, never yells, never gets angry. But when he's got a stern voice, it's scary.
Is it really?
Oh, yes.
I've never heard Rusty's stern voice. I've only heard his...
Yeah, so you'd be scared. It's like...
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
So, but then I thought, no, I'm not wrong here. And going, no, I have every right to get upset about this. And every human does have a right to be upset about a situation as long as you don't make it personal. And that is the art of communication. You never sledge another person for ammunition.
No. And it's like with children, if they do something wrong, you don't say, oh, you're bad for doing that. You talk about the actual actions. So it's not judging the child or judging the adult child.
No.
Because we all have this inner child. Well, it's the solar plexus is related to our inner child, isn't it? And somewhere along the way, I was listening to something recently, how our inner child gets kind of like squished back into like, no, you can't come out and play, but we're, you know, and then we're kind of conditioned, you got to grow up and start taking life seriously and, you know, be focused, get a job, get the house with the white picket fence. But it's like, why? Why can we not keep that inner child and keep that creativity and keep that wonder? Oh, we obviously have to. I mean, be able to
kids
survive.
I don't think I could. I personally wasn't a very patient mother, and I wish I knew now what I knew then. But then that's just all part of it.
Hindsight.
I personally couldn't have a teenager or a child at home who didn't want to work and just lays about. That would piss me off. So I think it's good ethic for them to work to be self-sustainable, basically. But you said the conditioning of, you know, the child. We said, oh, that's childish. Everything, oh, that's childish. Oh, that's childish. I mean, I got a ribbon in my hair today.
I know,
a lot of people would say, oh, I can't wear a ribbon. No, I didn't wear a ribbon since I was a child. But you and I know, you know, our audience knows, how many of you out there still feel like you're 18 or 22? Your mind is still there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So be there. Just because your vehicle, you haven't had a polish up or taken it to the mechanic, it doesn't mean...
For a service.
Yeah, for a service.
I haven't had a service for a while.
And you see, I've got a Mercedes. I don't need a service. My doors are rusted shut. Oh dear, poor punter. That'll be another day for another conversation.
Another talk.
We'll just talk plainly about what it's like.
Yes.
But I say go for it. Just to, have you, any of you seen the sites on Facebook where the women in their 70s and 80s dress however they want, and totally flamboyant, and they mix it up because they said it makes them feel good?
Yeah.
What is stopping you? Who is stopping you dressing the way you want to dress? Is it someone? Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it your husband? Is it your kids?
Fear of judgment
is not something you need in your life. That's the first thing that should is another word.
Yeah.
That's the second thing.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Should, get rid of it. Never use it again. Never hear it. Never want it. Never listen to it. And the other one, see, I got no memory.
But's not a good one. Often I've heard that, whether it was Kryon or Bashar, saying every time, or maybe Abraham Hicks, whenever you go, I would like this in my life, but we put a pause on our manifestation. So but is a really important word to stop saying.
Yes, but and should.
Yeah.
And don't allow judgment. Remember, these are souls experiencing their human experience. So if you took the human shape away from the soul that is talking to you, what would you see? Nothing. If you just, this is like hypothetically.
You would feel it, you wouldn't see it, it would be energy.
Right,
so you would feel the energy.
And if the energy hasn't got a form, can the form injure you, hurt you? No. So that's the way you have to look at words. And even if it's the communications in your relationships, think about the way that you communicate. Why are they so bitter? Why are this person putting you down all the time? What is it that they haven't addressed in their life? Because it's often a projection, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, often there's something they can't struggle with, so it's easier for them to project it out. Narcissists do that. Oh my God. We've had them. I think I'm going to have to shut up soon. I'm going to have to go to work.
Oh, what's the time?
It's 5 to 12.
Oh, and you're going to go, all right. That's good. Look, we racked up an hour and 7. And
how easy was that?
Oh, that was so easy. Oh, my goodness. Right. Molly, Maryanne, you're going to have to come back on because this has just been fabulous. And I love everything that we've talked about. And we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh, God, yeah.
There's like, oh, my goodness.
I can't believe we can talk that long without going up for
we can talk for literally days and days.
Actually, my friends could. Sometimes they think, does she ever shut up? And when I do, they say, what's wrong? Why aren't you talking? Yeah, what's wrong?
Okay?
Are you okay? Yeah. They ask if I'm okay, if I haven't got anything to say. I do always have lots to say. And my biggest learning lesson in life was to listen without thinking about what I'm going to say.
Yes, yeah.
That is so hard. Listen and absorb. So if you... And you can, I know I've got that mastered when I start listening, think of what I want to say, but then I go, no, listen, and then I forgot what I was going to say, so that's good.
And then you have to listen because it's gone anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, how can we learn when all we do is talk? So it's so important. You know, I love the back and forth. I love the beautiful dance of conversation when it's like a beautiful, even dance when you kind of like, back and forth, like, or tennis ball or something.
What is it? Totem tennis. Boing,
Totem.
Boing.
And it's so beautiful. But then if you've just got one person talking, it's like, how are they going to learn anything new in their world?
Or answering questions.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, does it?
No. I like just, you know, that organic conversation because you never know where it's going to go. And we covered a lot. And I'm like, and in my mind, actually, while you're talking, I'm going, this is awesome. I love
You weren't listening.
I was listening and I'm going, I love where this is going.
That's wild, isn't it? I can't believe that we have only just scratched the surface. It would be really good too that when you do put all this to air, people putting forward questions.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to have the answers, because we're just tripping over it, just like you and I. It's just, we just discover new things.
Yeah. I just had this thought that maybe at some point what we do, and I think I'd like you to be the first person to do it with me, is to do, once this has gotten rolling and it's out there and we've got people subscribe, to do a live, and then you can actually write down subjects and content you want us to kind of broach, and we'll kind of have a look and go, oh, we can talk about that.
I think so. That'd be great.
That would be so much fun.
Because people like to interact, because you have a question right and then you think, but wait a minute, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, that's a load of bullshit. How do you address this when da-da-da-da-da? And everything you say is relevant, because it's the same sort of stuff that we've said.
Yeah.
You know, and we're learning, and that's the exciting bit. I know nothing. I absolutely know nothing, and that is the truth. I don't read books, I glance at them, I listen. I'm not very good at reading because I fall asleep for some reason.
Yeah.
But in the scheme of things, I know nothing. I'm just on the tip of the iceberg, and that's the whole thing about the soul. So the more we don't know, go, oh yes, I can learn there and I learn there. There's so much to find out. I've got all these wonderful books at home to read. And I just wish I could go like this and put it in my head. Because
me too.
I don't know how I'm ever going to. So I just pick up and read a snippet and then I'll put it down.
Oh, you know, I saw somewhere, I think it was like Mind Valley or something with Vishna. Can't remember how to pronounce his last name, so I won't try.
Vishna
Lakalani or something. But where you can put your hand on a book and just absorb all the knowledge. And I'm like, wow, I've got to. But it's like, I know that that's a thing that people do, but I haven't even tried it yet. Like, where's a book?
Yeah, I know. Because I think that if we went to do it, the back of your mind, ego's going to say, don't be a fucking idiot. it. They'd go,
what are you thinking?
What are you thinking? Like, how many times do you get that when you go and put on a dress or something like that, and your ego says, what are you thinking? You can't wear that. Don't listen to your ego. Just do what you feel at the time.
Do what feels good. As long as it's not hurting anyone else.
Correct.
That's the disclaimer. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone else or any animal or the earth.
Yes. Even bugs.
Even bugs.
Or spiders. No more killing spiders.
Yeah.
No, we just catch them.
Catch and release.
I did a horrible one. I did once. And then afterwards, I felt guilty for years.
Yeah.
I had to go and have a healing through it and say sorry. It was, oh God, it was a mummy spider with all these babies on the back. Oh my God. I don't think I forgave myself for 5 years. And I'm thinking, who am I?
You know, that's so beautiful. I love, and I'm just getting tingles. I love that you felt that for the spider, because the spider is still, its
just
existence
a different vehicle.
is just as valid as
I know,
ours.
and I only learnt that at 56, 57 even, you know, and I did squash an ant yesterday.
Accidentally.
It was on top of the honey.
I know, occasionally accidental squishes, but then you just give it love and you say, well, because there's no real
get
death.
Out of my honey.
There is no real
death.
death.
That's true.
So everything goes back to the whole energy, and then we'll come back in another lifetime. But then you might come back in as an ant. You might get squished.
Yeah, exactly. I used to say
that
might
be your karma.
So we're not sitting here saying we're perfect, by no means. We're two women foddling through life,
finding our way in the dark,
and sharing.
Yeah.
What this is about, and everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay to say fuck as an adjective.
Yes, we can say fuck as an adjective. It's a good descriptive word that could come in handy.
It is an adjective. It is.
I can't say the C word. I don't even like to hear it. Like, my sons will use it just as matter of speaking, but I'm like, I just don't like it.
What's the pirate's favourite word? Favourite sound?
I know.
I've forgotten the joke.
I don't know. Please enlighten.
Something is says, "Arr," but I still like the sea.
Oh.
Yeah, favourite letter. Favourite letter.
I still like the
God,
sea.
I never get things like
I was
that,
thinking, what's the relation? There's got to be.
And that's always the same with my brain. There's no relation.
Well, because you're going to go to work, we will say goodbye. I'd just like to thank you again, Maryanne.
My pleasure.
Miss Molly.
That's easy.
I know. I knew that would be easy. That was so easy. All we have to do, just come round, Molly, and we'll just talk.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy.
But I would love for you to come back and maybe, do this live thing. So it'll be a little bit down the track. So
put this out first and then do a live.
And then we'll do a live. And you guys are all invited to come along with us, and we'll have a chat, and you can add in your 2 cents worth or $2.
Unlike all the ones overseas, it won't be at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No.
It'll be when you can actually talk. And, probably a 7 o'clock at night, something.
That would be nice. After dinner.
After dinner, after the children are settling, you could have a little bit of a time.
Yeah, just a little moment. Unless you are overseas, in which case, please get up at 2 in the morning and come chat with us.
Or, we could do a 10 o'clock one and we could do a 7 o'clock one.
Yeah, but that would be so much fun.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
It's been really good.
And thank you.
Hope we've helped some people think through some things.
Yeah, because, and this is the reason that I wanted to do this, was because I think the more we talk and share our perspectives and perception and what we've learned in life to make it easier or harder, or what's been harder, the more we can help people who, as we're going along the way. Like, I've always learning from other people, learning from my own life experience, tripping over a few times, getting back
falling
up.
on your face. And we're not saying we're right or we know it all. By no means. We're just, this is our life and we're sharing it. What's yours like? Have you got something to share? Something to teach us? That'd be even great.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please
we feel like, I feel like a sponge. I just want to keep learning more and more and more. It's a shame that happens at this vehicle's mechanics. Later stage. But I think that's the whole thing. But more and more younger people are Some younger people are waking up, some aren't.
And that's where I guess, you know, because it takes a bit of time in our life experience to really know what we really want in life. So, and by that time, and then the priority swaps from the physical body to the mental, intellectual, spiritual.
Can I end with, I don't know what I want in life?
Yeah.
I have got no idea. I listened to Lorie and they talk about manifestation. They said, you know, manifesting what you want. And I sit there and I go, what do I want? And I think the only thing I want, really, is I want to just win enough money in Cross Lotto to get my daughters out of debt in their house. That's really all.
But you know, you could break it down, sometimes keep it broader, like I would say, I want to be happy, healthy, fit and fulfilled. I want to be secure and stable and have an abundance of resources and healthy food and water and maybe a little bit of wine on the side. No. And have wonderful family and friends around me and live peacefully in joy and harmony. So I reckon sometimes instead of, you know, focusing on the money or focusing on the details again, is to kind of keep it broad, but keep it very positively broad.
Yeah.
So you cover all those bases, like I have an abundance of everything I could possibly ever want or need. And I'm on my highest timeline, on my path of my greatest good and
I'd
highest
agree with
self.
that, yeah. I had a affirmation that said that and I was saying it for a whole month. But I've got to a stage where now that I feel it.
Yeah.
So when I say I'm grateful for all those things I have been saying. So I take for granted I have all that now. Not take for granted, but I'm of acceptance and grateful that I have somewhere to live. I have food, that I've got an abundance. I've got financial abundance as far as I'm not starving. I've got a roof over my head. So to me, I have an acceptance of, well, that is my life, which I'm grateful for this life now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have that.
So
and
I get to a stage where I've stopped saying the affirmations because it's like, I have it.
I have it. And then you just can be thankful for being happy in life and having everything you need.
Yeah.
And the more you're happy for everything you need, the more you have things in that just fits in with that vibration.
Exactly.
Just beautiful, wonderful, lovely stuff.
Yes. And not to get disappointed if that bloke doesn't ring you back, because if it's meant to be, it will be.
Yeah.
And the right person. You don't... Something my mother always said to me, and I never listened, do not chase after a man. And she was so right. I didn't want to listen. Always chased. Always did. After Rusty, I did as well. I shouldn't mention his name. But, you know...
I'm sure
you make your feelings known and where you are, and then you sit back, and if the universe is going to let it be for the betterment of yourself, or even not, even as a learning lesson, it is. But don't spend too much energy wondering why.
And especially if it is the wrong street. This is something else I heard, is that rejection is sometimes God's protection, because you're not meant to be going with a certain person or a certain job or a certain way, and then you feel, oh no, they didn't want me. But in reality, had you gone that way, it could have been the worst decision in your life.
Correct.
Yeah,
but that's another conversation.
That's a whole other one. So we're going to go, because Molly's got to skedaddle. But we'll be back again soon. Thank you again so much. That was amazing.
It was fun, wasn't it?
That was so much fun. So thank you for being here with us on Nothing Else Matters. And wherever you are, have a beautiful day, evening, morning, whatever it is. And we'll be back again soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Love you. That was so awesome.
I know, it was
that was amazing. Oh.